Oh, here's one for you. You'll get high cholesterol and die. Don't just eat that meat like that. Honey, cholesterol ain't the villain. Wait a minute. Let me cue the music. That's all you get. They told you meat would clog your arteries. They said cholesterol was the enemy. They actually scared you into eating oatmeal all the time and taking statins. And guess what? You still tired. You still inflamed. You still frustrated. Because here's the truth. Cholesterol is not the villain. It's the firefighter, not the fire. Your body needs cholesterol to make hormones, repair cells, and keep your brain sharp. And get this, women who have higher cholesterol live longer. Don't believe me? Look it up. You can't eat the other stuff with it, but it's not your enemy. The real danger, we say it every week, sugar. Processed food, seed oils, that's what's clogging you up. Sis, bruh, listen, don't be afraid of a steak. Be afraid of soda, tea, bread. You've been duped into decades of bad science. We all were. And worse, the food pyramids, because you do know Kellogg's created the first one. But now you know better, so let's do better. Welcome to the show, Terri, DeNitra, Robyn, take it away.
Hey, sister girl. And hey, brother man. Welcome back to another episode. So, what if the only thing standing between where you are and where you want to be is that you keep quitting? Starting over is exhausting, not because you're weak, but because you're wired to survive. When you quit, the body resets. When you keep going, the body restores. So let's talk about what your life could look like 3 months from now, 6 months from now, 1 year from now. Staying consistent isn't punishment, it's your permission to heal. So we want to be clear. Welcome to Hey Sister Girl. We are not medical professionals, and nothing that we say on this show should be construed to be medical advice. So always consult your doctor. But what we are here to do is to help you connect the dots, see the patterns, and learn how to advocate your body and your healing. We want to ask you to go ahead and hit that like button and share this out with somebody that you know needs to not start over ever again. And let us know where you're watching from in the comments. I'm going to turn it over to Terri. Hey, Terri. Good evening.
Hang on, Robyn. We got one little part we missed over the recap for June. I'm gonna run and do that real quick.
Okay.
Um, so just a quick recap, guys. We've been on this journey. Greetings to each one of you. We've been on a journey this month, and it's been one for the books. Let me walk you back through what we've covered because this is our last Monday in this month. So June 2nd, we talked about just say no to sugar. We exposed how sugar hijacks your health and showed you how sweetness became suffering. June 9th, we did just say no to stress. We unpacked survival mode and showed you how to rest is resistance. Then on June 16th, we did just say no to sickness. We redefined health for fathers and families and challenged the norm. We really invited women into that space to love men to life, not love to death, love them to life. And then June 23rd, we did just say no to suppression. We were just out of Juneteenth and we uncovered the silence in the systems, keeping us metabolically bound. So as Robyn said, tonight we are going to take a close look at as we close out, just say no to June with the reminder that you don't need to start over. You need to keep going. This is the show that moves you from start and stop to start and finish. You deserve to finish. Let's go, Terri. You're on mute.
Hey, Terry, you're on mute. We can't hear you.
So
Okay.
while we
Thank
wait
you.
for Terry to hop in, Robyn, do you want me to go or you want
Yeah,
Terry? Okay.
you can go ahead.
All right. So tonight, what I really want to do is talk about the biochemistry of quitting. Let's talk about what really happens to your body, not just your emotions when you keep quitting and starting over. So there's actually something going on in your body when you continue to quit. This is not about willpower or any of that. It really is about your wiring. It's about a made up mind. It's about a new mindset. So let's talk about it, right? So this inconsistency that you do when we say, hey, I'm gonna start over on Monday, I'm gonna start over on Monday. This inconsistency that we do confuses your body. You think you're just having a few bites here or skipping your habits there, but your body is asking, are we healing or surviving today? Your metabolism thrives on rhythm. Quit and start breaks that rhythm. So essentially what's happening is you keep making these decisions that you're going to do right. And then you say to yourself, like, I don't know I don't know about tomorrow. Like, I'm going to try something. Oh, it's a treat. Oh, I can have a little bit. Oh, I can do moderation. But you kick your body into this, start and finish. And so it doesn't know if this is a healing process or are we continuing to be sick? And then the next one is insulin resistance gets worse every time you quit. So what do I mean by that? Remember, insulin resistance is when your body starts to resist the insulin. That means that there is no regulator for all the sugar that you're eating. So every time you go out plan and you spike your insulin, your cells get more resistant. Your fat storage increases and the stall lasts longer. This is why it gets harder, not because you're broken, but because your biochemistry is confused. I'm living that out right now, guys. Like, I am in a fight right now to like fully reverse insulin resistance. And because I have so much visceral fat, and what I mean by visceral fat is that it is on my organs. And while I have gotten better over time and I'm continuing to get better, that is my struggle. This is why I no longer quit. It's no longer a start over for me. For me, it is, how do I just keep going? And then inflammation. So the inflammation that you have cleared out of your body is starting to heal. When you continue to eat or put those things back in, sugar and processed carbs don't just stop progress, they restart the fire. So if you can remember when we were kids and we would get a sore and that sore would heal over and we would pull the scab back, you reintroduce inflammation in the joints, the belly, and the brain. The bloating, the puffy feeling, that's not just in your head, it is metabolic. So when you keep quitting, these are the things that happen. And so let's talk about gut disruption happens quickly. So as soon as you feed your body something that it doesn't want, this thing that we call a cheat day, every cheat day is like pouring bleach on your good bacteria. Bloating, constipation, skin flare-ups, it all comes roaring back. So you've done the work. You have worked hard. You're starting to see some improvement. Your skin is looking better. You're feeling better. Your joints are not achy. And then you, in a whim, decide, I'm going to eat off plan. I'm going to choose something else. And this is what you crank up all over again. So the hormones are thrown off again. So ladies, we feel it in our sleep, our skin, our cycle, our cravings, our hormones respond consistency, right? So this co-quitting just wrecks the regulation. So you're trying to be regular with life, you're trying to move forward, and then you allow yourself to have a cheat day, or you're going to start over on Monday, or you say things like, I'm on vacation. And so then you run it back again. All right. So then your mitochondria will take a hit as well. Those are your energy factories. Every time you reintroduce that processed junk, you are starving your cells of real fuel. So when you starve your body of real fuel, that's why you feel tired and sluggish when you try to start again. So again, it's this whole start over on Monday again. And so now here is Monday showing up. You didn't wrecked it for the weekend. You've eaten everything you want to eat, and you think somehow you're going to mysteriously click a button and start over on Monday, right? And so then when Monday comes and you've made this plan, like I'm going to start back to the gym again, I'm going to eat right again. But because of all the sluggishness you had over the weekend, now you don't even feel like it. So that Monday goes, then another Monday goes, and it just continues to compile. And so the last one, number 7, you rewire the cravings loop. Sugar, chips, bread, every time you go back, you strengthen the neural pathways of addiction. And then you blame yourself for not having discipline. But this is brain chemistry, not just willpower. So it is this thing that we say, you know, I'm addicted to it. I gotta have it. I left it alone last year. See, I just need to get back to doing. I know what to do. I just don't do it. You say all of these things, and when I say you, I'm talking about me too, because I've been there. And some days recently, I've been there again. Thus, the show Stop Starting Over. Right? We gotta move to a place where we appreciate the healing. Now, I want to be addicted to how good I feel. I want to be addicted to my knees are not hurting. My skin is not blotched up. My belly is starting to go down, right? I want to be addicted to that. I don't want to keep starting over. So a couple of things I want to add before I turn it to Terri is this is the impact on your lab work. So fasting insulin rises again. So if you've been in this place where so right now I'm so proud of my low fasting insulin. So why would I go back and start this all over again? Like I've been working for years to get my fasting insulin down. So even after you've worked hard to lower it, your A1C creeps up because sugar doesn't forget. So where I've been having low sugar and my A1C is moving down, which means over a 90-day period, I'm not having these high sugar rushes, high insulin rushes. And then I go decide I want to have some cake. I want to have some regular ice cream. I'm going to eat a baked potato, right? So now I'm spiking my insulin because now my body knows how I've taught it that it can't manage more than a teaspoon of sugar. Okay. All right. So then check this out. Your hormones destabilize so that progesterone, your cortisol, leptin, all fall out of sync again. So remember, cortisol, we've learned it on this show that it is the hormone that is what we call the stress hormone. So now you're using insulin in your way of eating to keep all of these things lowered, managed, if you will. And now you add this sugar back in your diet and it goes haywire all over again. Starting over is not what we want to continue to do. Every month, every year, every Monday, we pick these days to start over. And so then your liver enzymes spike. Even a short break can impact detox pathways. Your labs don't lie and they don't reset just because Monday came. So where we have in our mind, like this is the beginning of a week, I'm going to start then, or I'm coming back off of vacation, I'm going to start then. Our bodies don't realize all that. It don't know it's Saturday and Sunday, right? The body knows what it wants to thrive on, which is protein and fat. We say that here often. And when you give it anything else, then you are out of sync with your body. Remember, I often say that this season of your life is like the most intimate time that you will spend with your body. All right, I'm closing out here. So the tools to keep going back is, create a plan. If you feel like you're going to be gone somewhere, something's going on. The other day, Saturday, I was in Memphis. I was in Memphis for a very long time. I knew that I was already fasted and that I was going to need to eat in the middle of a workshop that I was in. And so guess what? I packed my food and took it. I called the coordinator of the event and found out that they were going to have light refreshments. And so I went prepared. Everybody was looking around like, you brought your own lunch? I'm like, yes, I had bacon, I had beef fat. I was satiated. I wasn't tempted to eat the fruit. I wasn't tempted to you drink the juice, right? You have to have a plan. All right. So then you need a visual anchor, something that I'm using right now, a waist beads. You want to monitor how your ring is fitting, a bracelet, something that grounds you and reminds you that I've gone a track back. I don't want to go a track up, right? And then also you want to track your non-scale wins. We call those non-scale victories. Is your brain clear? Do your clothes fit better? Are your labs better? Like, use those as proofs in the pudding that you never want to go back. My doctor, who is often on the show, Yvonne Moore, often says, like, you need a scream weight. You need a weight that when you get close to that, you like, ah! Like literally scream. Remember this today. You literally scream when you start to see yourself trickle up. Now, let me tell you a secret, right? Here's the secret. The secret is inflammation in most cases is weightless. There is no weight. So when you do binge out on Saturday or Sunday and you get on the scale on Monday and you say, I only gained 2 pounds. Yeah, that's what registered on the scale. But like a balloon, that stuff you ate, it blew you up, right? That's how visceral fat starts. This is why I've been in the 190s, 180s for almost 3 years, but my body composition has been changing, but the scale is not moving. This is why we tell you to measure your inches, feel what's going on with your ring, what's going on with your waist beads. I have some waist beads that I put on at the beginning of the year that are now looped, but I'm still in the 190s. Well, I'm in the 80s now. Thank you, Lord. I'm in the 180s now. I'm getting there. I don't mind being transparent with y'all because I'm ready for y'all to come with us. Like, we want to be as real as we can on this show. And so then the other thing is lean into your community. We have the Hey Sister Girl group on Facebook. Get in there, talk in there, ask your questions. You got me and Robyn here. We're all here to support you, to figure out what's going on. And you really cannot always rely on the mirror, but I also would say find you an outfit that you can try on every Monday so that when you look at that outfit, you can say to yourself, I see some changes. Take pictures. I got pictures that none of you will ever see unless I'm dead and gone and somebody lets you see them. But I got some, right, that I check myself. And so when people say, oh, yeah, girl, I look like I was 9 months pregnant. No, I look like I was 18 months pregnant, right, with some quadruplets. That's a stomach that I had that y'all will never see that part of me, okay? I'm just saying. And so this is what I want to say to you all. Starting over is exhausting. Staying the course is healing. The best version of you isn't on the other side of another restart. It is staying on the side of consistency. Now, did I say this was easy? Did I say this was perfect? It is none of those things, but I promise you it is so worth it. If you keep going, if you keep trying, if you know that you are wrecking your body. Again, I say it like this. You're putting a little teaspoon of sugar every day. You finally kill all that sugar out of your gas tank. Your car is running perfect again. It's doing better. And then you start putting the sugar in again. That's essentially what's happening biochemistry, right? Biologically, that is what's happening to your body every time you start over. It is not a minimal thing. It is a really big deal. And trust me, I have chosen to eat cupcakes at an event. And that same night I came home, I had to have a boot on my foot because I could not walk on my foot because of the sugar. So this thing is real and it does impact your body. All of that little bit stuff, moderation stuff, all this garbage. Stop starting over. And this is why you do not want to continue to chemically mess up your body. All right, Terri, I think you ready to rock and roll. So take it away, sister. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me now? Okay, good. I think the storm is passing. We were having some type of thunderstorm going on, and I think that's what messed me up a little bit. But tonight, I'm going to talk about making your why stronger than your weakness. You know, I teach dance. I teach salsa dance, and I teach it a little bit different than some instructors. Usually they just teach the steps and the movements and things. But when I teach salsa, I actually give you the history I give you the connectivity to why, if you move this way, it'll look this way. Why, if you move this way, it'll look this way. To me, because you know your why, you'll want to do it more. So what is your why? Because the more you understand your why, the more it'll overcome those moments that DeNitra was just talking about as far as your weakness, you giving in. If you look at that cupcake and go, no, because I have this goal, I have this reason why I'm not going to eat that cupcake. For me, it's my 3 grandbabies. Every time I see them, the fact that I can go, hey, Bella, come play with us. And I can actually do it. And the other grandparents can't. Sorry, other grandparents. Hate to call you out, but it's true. And, you know, I'm up here playing with them in the water features at the amusement park. I'm on the roller coaster with them. I'm in the swimming pool with them. I can do all the things that I don't remember my grandmother being able to do for me, nor my mother able to do for my kids. I want my memory for my grandkids to be the one that was fun, energetic, and could get right in there and hang with them. That's the type of memory I want my grandkids to have with me. So that's my why. So this time is different because as they grow older, I want to be able to be there for them and experience life with them no matter. Right now they're little, but my oldest grandson is he's preteen. I want to be there for his prom. I want to be there for his graduation. Those are my reasons why. So every time you started before, you might have had doubt. This time, you just need to make a decision. I said it again, decision. Because once you decide, once it's ingrained in you why you're doing it, then you can stick with it a lot better. Many of us have quit before, but now we know better. This time you're not going to do it alone. You have a why that's built to last. And now you know you have a community as well. Your why could be your kids or your grandkids. It could be your freedom. I don't know if any of you know my story, but mental clarity gave me the freedom to have the lifestyle that I have right now. That's a whole nother story. You're going to have to look at Carnivorous Grandma to see that episode. And I'll tell you the why. You can have your peace of mind. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to keep choosing. Write your why on the mirror, on your fridge, or in a journal if you journal. I like to use sticky notes and to remind me, especially on that refrigerator, because if you go to open it and you're about to choose something wrong, which I hope you don't even have in your refrigerator, by the way. But if you do, because you don't live alone, you'll know why you don't need to do that. So know your why. Make sure that you journal it. I have a picture that I found that I forgot about, and I shared it with the ladies in the group of my before and my now. I didn't even realize the difference. I didn't until I saw that picture. So that's my other why. I keep looking at it almost daily, like, that's why. So know your why, write it down, and then just do it. Just all right, I'm going to turn it over to DeNitra.
I think it's coming to me. Thank you, Terri. Okay, let's get switched up. All right, you guys. So, my job tonight is to take you on a journey. We have heard the science behind why keeping on starting over is hugely problematic and what it does in the brain, what it does in the body. And Terri told us to build that why out. Now you know your why. And I tonight want to think about what happens if you never stop. So we always say, I'm going to start over. As DeNitra said, I'm going to start over on Monday. I'm going to start over at January 1st. Look how many people make those New Year's resolutions. And then, by February 1st, those New Year's resolutions are out the door. But what if you didn't stop this time? What does that look like? So we want to take a look at what is possible, not just in theory, but real life-changing results that come from staying consistent. Um, and so we want to talk about the metabolic truth of the things that could happen to you if you don't give up, if you don't start over again. All right. So let's take a look at within 3 months of starting a carnivore way of eating, or I'm going to call it a low sugar or eliminating sugar way of eating. So within 3 months, you're no longer inflamed. I want to just mention this because I have a person that I am coaching right now who within days, lost all of their inflammation and was like, oh my God, I cannot believe this. But you're no longer inflamed. You're no longer exhausted or craving sugar every night. Yeah, you want to eat that bowl of ice cream every night. And the reason that you want to do that every night is because you're doing it every night. But as soon as you stop, now you can stop craving it. You're waking up rested, your jeans fit better, and you're remembering what joy feels like because your brain is able to work better than it did before. And you don't need food to fake it. So you don't need that comfort food to come in and make you feel better, right? So examples of the 3-month wins: waist inches lost without calorie counting. How many of us are still calorie counting? Because we know and we have heard on this show that calorie is a construct. Our bodies don't work like that. So calories in, calories out is destined to fail. It does not work for most of us. How many of us have started over a million times? Drop a thumbs up for me in the chat if you have started over so many times. All right, losing weight without exercising. Anybody experience that? A lot of us, when we first started carnivore, weren't moving at all. We were just eating right, just eating the proper food for our bodies. And we lost weight, we lost inches without counting anything. We didn't even count our macros. So we don't need to be counting everything. Energy returning in the afternoon. So I can recall this, how all of a sudden, where I would be so tired in the afternoon after eating that big carb-laden lunch and have to go take a nap in between, 30-minute power nap in between because I was so tired in the afternoon, or I had to have a snack, something to get my energy back up. And so that energy returning in the afternoon. So fewer headaches. Yes, within 3 months, you might not see a complete elimination of those headaches, but you're going to have fewer than you had before and better sleep. A lot of people, when they go on a sugar-free way of eating, determine that they don't even need as much sleep as they used to. And I'm the woman who everybody used to talk about me. My grandkids laugh at me because I would be in bed sleeping at 7 o'clock, and they're like, "Uh-oh, it's 6 o'clock, time to get ready for bed." And then finding out that I don't even necessarily need as much sleep as I did before. Clearer skin. Now, that's my testimony. Clearer skin. So I had eczema, but you might have acne. So a lot of people have cystic acne, and you find out that your skin is going to clear up on carnivore. And then your mood swings will be reduced. That's examples of things that can happen within just 3 months of starting a low sugar or no sugar way of eating. So within 6 months from now, you'll become the testimony. First of all, when you start your sugar-free way of eating, everybody's going to be watching you to see what's going to happen. Now at 6 months, you are no longer on the sidelines. You are living proof that this works. You reverse markers that your doctor once warned you about. You may even have reversed some issues that they told you that were chronic and incurable. So one of them is type 2 diabetes, can be reversed in a very short period of time. And what you're saying yes to at 6 months, you're saying yes to outings. And so many of us are dealing with social anxiety, right? And we say no because we don't want to be peopling too much. Too much peopling will get us down. But you'll find that that social anxiety will lift, and you're able to say yes to things that you used to have to say no to. You're saying yes to walks. Look at us, 14,400 steps a day. That's crazy. I cannot imagine that. I remember that I was walking about less than 2,000 steps a day because I work remotely. I work from home. So I was not walking at all. And now I'm up walking and moving around. You're saying yes to laughter and you're saying yes to life. So here's some examples of wins that you could have at 6 months. Your lab numbers are improving. Your A1C, blood pressure, your cholesterol numbers, your fasting, your fasting insulin are all numbers that are improving within 6 months. No more sugar binges. So, as I said earlier, and as has been said, the more you consume sugar, the more you're going to crave sugar. By 6 months, you're no longer craving sugar. So, you're not binging out on sugar unless you sneaking. Who you sneaking from? Who you hiding it from? You're not hiding it from us, and you're not hiding it from yourself. Because as DeNitra said, your body knows that you're doing that. Your body knows that you are trying to dibble and dabble, I call it. You're trying to dibble and dabble in some sugar, and your body knows that. So if you don't want to binge on sugar, just leave the sugar alone. You're having consistent bowel movements. So a lot of people are coming from a condition called IBS. You might have had IBS with constipation. You might have had IBS where you had, painful stomach, and they told you needed fiber to alleviate that. And come to find out, you don't. You don't need fiber. Give me a thumbs up in the chat if you know you don't need fiber. You will have consistent bowel movements only eating meat. I know that sounds crazy, but it is true. It's just true. Your confidence is building, your peace is growing, and then you're reducing your medications. You might even be off of some of your medications. High blood pressure medication, insulin, all those different doctor supervised, medications. You want to make sure that you're working with your doctor to get off of them, but you definitely can get off of them. So many people in this space have gotten off of scads, gads, gobs of medications. I'm thinking about Carrie Mann from Homestead How, and how he has this big old box of medicines that he was on and is no longer on. All right, so let's keep on daydreaming. Let's go to 1 year. The impossible became you. So they told you that this issue could not be healed. It was chronic, incurable, it could not be healed. But here you are. Here you are, lupus, healed, whole, and still standing. Here you are, metabolic syndrome. I'm thinking about G. My God, the woman is healed. I can't wait for her to come and tell her story about healing. You're healed, whole, you're still standing, not because it was easy. And as DeNitra said, this is not easy. It is not easy. But is anything that's easy worth having, right? That why needs to be bigger than how difficult this could seem. But I will say this is the most simplest way of eating that you can imagine. It's extremely simple, very, very straightforward. Just eat meat. Just eat meat and eat some fat. All right, so examples of one-year transformations. Reversal of insulin resistance or pre-diabetes, or even diabetes. Hallelujah. Reversal of something that they told you could not be reversed. Fertility improvements. So many women getting their periods back. They got PCOS and they don't no longer have periods. Some of them getting their periods back and having a stable hormonal cycle. Guys, I just want to mention this. Low T is being reversed on a sugar-free way of eating. We got a question in here. I'm gonna star it. Chronic pain and inflammation drastically reduced or gone. There's somebody in the chat right now whose inflammation and pain is completely gone. I just want you to just say hey to us in the chat and let us know that you are the one whose inflammation and pain is gone. You're becoming an example to your family. I literally was on carnivore for 2 years before anybody in my family would try it. About 2 years before anybody in my family would try it. Now there's a number of people that are trying it and that are loving it, loving eating their meat. You're mentally and spiritually stronger than ever, which is so, so awesome. All right, so I'm going to take this question. How is pooping? Can we talk about carnivore or sugar-free eating without talking about pooping? No, we cannot. You will be pooping consistently. You do not need fiber. You do not need fiber in order for your bowels to move. I know that that's what we've been told. I know that that's what we've been taught. It is not true. You will poop on carnivore. And there's a lever that you can use, and that lever is fat. So between your protein and your fat, if you're finding yourself that you're a little bit bound up, you're going to increase that fat. What do you think fat is going to make you do? You will poop on carnivore. So, and I have to say for myself, I had constipation, chronic constipation. I had IBS with constipation. And when I went on carnivore after 30 days, I had a normal bowel movement for the first time that I can remember in my adult life. And I was like, oh, this is the way things are supposed to be. And yes, it will normalize. Your bowel movements will normalize. I don't know if DeNitra, if you want to have a comment, or Terri want to have a comment on that before I go on.
Yeah, no, I was just going to add what I know is you said it exactly right, Robyn, that fiber is not necessary for pooping. Fiber will make you poop, but it's because your body is literally spitting it out. It doesn't want that fiber. It doesn't want that plant-based stuff. So this is why it ends up in the toilet. The other thing to think about is when you eat meat, your body absorbs it. It never makes it to the toilet. The only thing that we keep calling this thing a bowel movement, I teach my clients to call it a waste. It should be called a waste. And what I mean by waste is once your body has tried to use whatever you have given it, and it can no longer use that thing, that it is trying to spit it out, it's trying to get rid of it. That's literally what a waste is. It's the same thing, the same way you upchuck when you don't want something, right? The same way you cry tears out of your eyes. All of those are places of bile. It's like letting things out. It is an open transport system, a way to escape from the body. Now, when your body gets meat in it, your body absorbs that as a part of the body. Those are the nutrients and the fuel. You're never going to see that in the toilet, right? Here's the comparison. Your car, when you go to the gas station and you pump your gas, you're not standing there waiting for your car to be regulated and all the gas to run out on the ground. But essentially, that's what we say to our bodies. We think, oh my God, I got to have a bowel movement out there every time I eat. That's a lie. That's a myth. It's not true. Do your research. Your body is absorbing that for utilage. It is going to use it. The only thing the body is going to kick out is what it
Right.
cannot use and what it does not use, and that is waste. So stop calling it a bowel movement. It sounds fancy. I know we call it poop and all of that, right? I even have clients coming to me now saying, do you know my poop doesn't stink? That's because you're not eating wasted stuff. So when you eat salad, thank you, Darth Carnivore. When you eat salads, you eat corn, you eat rice, you eat all of those foods. Here's two things that are going to happen to those foods. They're going to immediately try to get as much as the body will try to get immediately as much of it as it can out to the toilet immediately, right? All that it doesn't get out, it stores on your body. Now, doctors and medical people call it fat. I call it inflammation. This is how you become inflamed. Is because you couldn't poop that out. You had this huge big salad. I was in a restaurant yesterday. The lady thought she was doing something good. She had corn, cabbage, lima beans, and a big old piece of cornbread on her plate. And I said, why are you eating all that? She said, I'm just doing vegetables today. I'm just doing vegetables. And in her mind, she was being healthy. So, of course, I got in her business. It's what I do sometimes. I got in her business and made some suggestions of some things. She was literally carrying her plate on a walker. She was holding her plate on a walker while telling me to go get her some fried chicken. I said, ma'am, I'm not going to give you no fried chicken. I'll give you some grilled chicken, right? I'm not, because they're breading on there. If it didn't have the breading on there, I would give it to you. I did give her my phone number. But I'm saying that to you all to say this whole concept around poop is a myth the way we've been taught. When you think about a lion's poop in the wild, go do your homework. It's called scant. That scant only has skeletal bones and hair in it because that's what the lion had to tear through to get to the meat. But when they find it in the wild, it's no meat there. All that meat he ate, none of that shows up in the lion's poop. Do your homework. Terri, I don't know if you have something you want to add.
I used to be the queen of fiber, but all it did was bloat me. And I kept wondering why my stomach wouldn't go down. But as soon as I turned carnivore, and I had the fear like everyone else that, I'm going to be constipated. But when I started eating carnivore and increasing my fat, and the first time I'm kind of like you, Robyn, that I went and it was just like normal and not difficult, I was like, hallelujah. I don't need that fiber. And then all of a sudden my tummy started going down, and that was the results that I wanted. And I started listening to people like DeNitra and Dr. Berry and Carrie, all the carnivores that are out there. And they were like, you will absorb what you need through the meat. And then whatever you don't need, that's the poop. And it made sense to me. So I'm just saying, if you're taking a bunch of fiber, stop. It's doing more damage than anything. Just increase your fat, eat your protein, and that's it.
Thank you, Terri. So I just want to mention this. Dr. Kilt says that fiber is like a Brillo pad in the colon. Can you imagine what's happening inside there? How it's ripping and shredding up your colon? That's why we have leaky gut. And we have all these issues. Yes. So we do not require fiber. It is not mandatory for human consumption. And in fact, it is waste, as DeNitra just said. It is waste. And that is why it's pushing everything out. So thank you for that question. So I want to just give you a couple of practical tools that you can use to stay encouraged when your results feel slow or temptation creeps in. And so one is pick a non-scale victory to track each week. So our non-scale victories are in these categories: energy, sleep, digestion, skin, mood. So we're talking about things that are not associated with weight, right? Doesn't matter how much you weigh. So maybe it is like mine. I stood in the mirror this week and sent a Marco Polo to my group, say, y'all, I'm wearing a size small. I mean, I'm a small top and a medium pants. Yay. And that was my non-scale victory that I was tracking. So think about what else is going on. What other things are happening within your life that are changing? One of my big ones is anxiety. being able to drive over a bridge without feeling like I'm gonna run over the side. Now that's a terrifying thing, y'all, but it's so much better. So create a future you vision board or journal prompt. So write down or visualize, who are you becoming? Go back to that why. Like, what is it that you want to be able to do and desire to be able to do that that you'll be doing in the future when your body allows you to do it? Okay. And then celebrate the boring wins. So a day without cravings. That first day that you don't have a craving for that sugar because you have eliminated it, that is a great day, and a lot more days to come after that. A week of walking or meals without drama, simplifying those meals. Do you have to going out to a restaurant and choosing the foods that serve your body? That's a big non-scale victory, and it is something that is doable. And so I want to encourage you to think about that. So your body does want to heal, and your future is not built on perfect days, but it's built by consistent days, and keeping going. You'll look back in a year and barely recognize the woman or man who wanted to quit. What is it? What is it going to look like when you don't start over and you just keep going? So starting over is a trap. We're not starting over because our bodies are like, what the heck are you doing? Staying the course is going to cause transformation. So I think I'm turning this over. Let's do a couple of questions. So I saw some questions in here.
Hey, I see some people from my channel that are new to us tonight. So yeah, they have some really good questions. So the one that's there, Robyn, do you want to read it? You just want me to?
Yeah. So no fried chicken? Question mark. Baked chicken is what I do? Nope. Go ahead, DeNitra.
So yes, you can have fried chicken. I eat fried chicken often, all the time. So here is the thing. So the reason why, because I always like to take us back to how did we even get to saying no fried chicken? Because you hear that. I was with a group yesterday and a young man was saying, don't eat fried foods. You can eat fried foods, but it's about what you put on the fried foods and what you cook the fried foods in. So let me say that again. We are typically frying chicken in flour. We dip it in flour, we dip it in buttermilk, and then we fry it so that it'll have a crunch. We think that's how we get the crunch. So that fried chicken is then fried in some type of canola oil, some type of frying oil. What in the world is that, right? We stop at these fast food places, and what I mean by fast food is like wing places, and we buy wings and they've been fried in what they call frying oil, vegetable oil. Those are all lubricants that are meant for machinery. So let me tell you how I fry. Oh, look at there. Somebody just took it.
Come on, Charlie. All right, Charlie.
This is how you fry chicken. And yes, you can have it all you want. You can eat it every day if you like. So you're going to fry your chicken. You're going to season it. And once your chicken is seasoned, and I'm particular about my season, I only use Redmond's seasoned salt is all I use. I know I had a whole weekend this weekend where I threw away all the spices and seasons that have been like hanging out in my cabinet for 5 years. I finally dumped them all, from the garlic salt powder, this chili powder. I don't use any of that. I have two things that I use. I use Redmond's salt whenever I'm eating a steak. That's all I want on my steak is just the salt. When I do ground beef or chicken or fish, I use Redmond's seasoned salt. So here we go. You're going to season your meat. And when you season your meat, now I do use mustard on there as a flavor. Sometimes I do soak my chicken in pickle juice, which pickle juice is like an electrolyte. I do that sometimes. But then I use beef tallow. So on this show, you all have heard beef tallow 1,000,000 times. If you haven't, then let this be the first, but not the last, that you'll hear beef fat on this show. And so you cook up beef fat, and the stuff that is left, the grease that normally in our world we drain it off and toss it because we don't want that much grease. We be trying to figure out how to keep the grease on there, right? So you have all this grease left. And so now that's what I fill my deep fryer with. And then I fry my chicken, whether it's thighs, whether it's fish, whether it is wings. I fry them in tallow so that I can have fried chicken and it's crunchy, it's crispy, and it tastes good. Like it's some of the best fried chicken that I've ever had. Now, when you go to a restaurant, they're not going to do that for you. Buffalo Wild Wings says that they fry in tallow. I do know that there is some whatever that word is. I don't know.
Hydrogenated.
It's mixed with something, but I would say it's less bad than your friendly neighborhood fried food. Now, before I really learned about tallow, there's another one. Nana BC says she uses bacon grease for hers. And y'all, if you mix bacon grease and tallow together and fry in that, so good. Bum. But before that, for our newcomers that are here, you can also use avocado oil. I have fried avocado oil because it can stand high heat. But if you have canola oil over your house right now, go throw it away unless you need to oil some machinery. If you have vegetable oil, there are no vegetables in vegetable oil. Get rid of it. You should be using animal-based oils. Lard, which is pork grease, tallow, which is beef grease. If you don't have that, the next best thing to that, or less bad, as Dr. Berry would say, is using avocado oil.
All right. The next question. Stacy Smith Bailey wants to know, no vegetables? No vegetables.
Yeah. So Stacy, another good friend, thank you for joining and tuning in with us. So vegetables, here we go. Vegetables are all plant-based. They are all plant-based. And because they're plant-based, they're going to metabolize in your body as sugar. So when we are expanding on this idea of doing carnivore or doing no sugar, if we're saying no sugar or very little sugar, vegetables are sugar. Yes, every kind of vegetable you can have is going to metabolize as sugar. Sugar is going to spike blood. Blood is going to spike insulin. And remember, when you eat it, it's just a filler in your body because it's not nourishing your body. I know, Stacy, that's so hard to hear, but yes, it's true. And we can talk offline. But it is going to store on your body. All that you don't get a chance to poop out is why we have this, what people call a fufu. We didn't name the thing, right? Those are some vegetables, some plant-based stuff. All this inflammation, ain't none of this meat, y'all. All of that stems from some plant-based. But let us hear from someone else, Terry or Robyn. I don't know if you have some thoughts about vegetables and how to kind of get somebody who's new to the thing tonight.
I'm going to let Terry go first, and then I'll go.
Well, as far as vegetables, because I like vegetables, and growing up, that's all my mom was about, the vegetables. You had to have your turnip greens, you had to have your cabbage, you had to have your things. But what I've noticed since I've been carnivore, since we're talking transparently, I don't release gas. I'm going to put it that way, like I did when I was on those vegetables. And if you stop and think about that, what are those vegetables doing inside your body? How are you processing that in your body? So we always tell people, just try it. Try it for a week, try for 2 weeks, try for a month without the vegetables. And then you'll start seeing the results. And it also, if you do incorporate vegetables, it will delay you. But if you go straight carnivore and the fat, watch how fast you have your progress. Robyn?
All right. So yes, a lot of people ask about the vegetables and whether or not, so many people have told me, but I love vegetables. And what I'm thinking is, vegetables don't really love you that much. I think you guys have both said it. They're going to convert to sugars in the system. I was on keto for 10 years. 5 of it I was on strong keto. 5 of it I was on Cheeto. because those vegetables and plant-based materials were causing me a problem, and that problem was cravings. I craved everything. Vegetables are unnecessary in a human diet. I don't think that they are required or mandatory for a human diet. In fact, no carbohydrate, there's no essential carbohydrate, is what we're understanding. There's a great conversation going on in the chat about whether or not there's some kind of essential fiber and stuff like that. So, what I would say is how we are understanding it today is that fiber, carbohydrates, which all vegetables are carbohydrates, are non-essential. And so, in terms of no vegetables, if you are going to be on a carnivore, which means I'm going to be a meat-based person, no vegetables. There are different levels, I guess, of a proper human diet, as Dr. Berry has coined the phrase. It's a spectrum that goes from low carb all the way to lion diet, which is just ruminant animals and salt and water. Maybe not even salt. Some people don't even use salt. So some low starch, low carbohydrate, low oxalate vegetables, right? So it just depends on what your goals are. And and you'll be making that decision for yourself as to whether or not you can have any vegetables at all. I have determined after 2.5 years on carnivore that I cannot tolerate vegetables. I have sensitivities to vegetables. How do I find that out? By eliminating them and eating only meat. And then I tried to bring some stuff back in and I found out, well, that doesn't serve me. It doesn't do me well. So so that's going to be up to you, Stacy Smith Bailey.
Let me just add one other thing to Robyn, just a little history. So especially in the Black community, so how we even started eating vegetables. You can go back and do some homework on that with Ellen White, who is a 7-day Adventist. Again, whenever I speak about this is not a bash to any spiritual or religion. It is literally the history of how we began to eat vegetables. And the reason was they were trying to keep men from masturbating. She heard these voices that told her that Christian people should not be eating meat. And so a whole religion has been built on that. So we followed that. The other thing for us in our communities relative to vegetables, I mean, if you just think about greens, why do we add meat to them? We're adding meat to them because we have very little meat. So we were resilient people. And as a part of our resilience, we took the pork meat or the beef meat or whatever, bacon grease. This is why you put a little bacon grease in your greens, because you're trying to give it some flavor. But how we started eating it was because it wasn't enough meat for the knucklehead sitting across the table. And so sometimes we got to go back a little bit deeper so that we can have a better understanding of the why we do the things that we do, as opposed to just blindly doing them. I was a vegetarian. I was a vegan at one time because I thought it was the healthiest way for me to eat. The last thing I want to say about this, y'all, is that seeds never, ever die. Vegetables never die. So they re-ferment in your body. So when you hear Robyn talking about IBS and all of this irritable bowel syndrome, diverticulitis, y'all, meat does not cause that. It is the poisons and the toxins that are in vegetables that cause that. So many of us are wondering why we are vegetarian. We're eating the healthiest we've ever eaten. We're eating veggie burgers. We're eating veggie this. We are staying away from meat. Well, why are we 200 pounds? Why are we 250 pounds? Why are we having all of these issues? It's not because of age. It's because your body is not meant to metabolize plants or plant-based stuff. I know it's hard. I just want to keep honoring that. It is hard. It is a mindset shift. It's like my doctor, I had somebody tell me, so damn, literally they said it. My doctor's in cahoots too. Like, he is, but unknowingly to him in many ways, right? But it is the truth. We are not meant to metabolize. We have nothing in our body that can metabolize. This is why it's called metabolic syndrome. This is why it's called that, is because nothing in our body can metabolize plants. Nothing. So you're not a cow, you're not a grazer, right? So you can't. A cow has something in their system that they can. Thanks for letting me kind of, because it's the main question we get, because right, it's the polar opposite of what we're saying. We're saying
Exactly.
eat meat, don't eat vegetables. So here we go. It's the main thing. Thank you, Keto Simple.
I want to say thank you to Dustin for the super chat. Thank you so much. We appreciate that very much. All right, so we got a couple more questions in here.
Justin.
I want to answer this question. First of all, I want to change the way we are looking at this term. It is not a keto rash. It is called oxalate dumping. So when you eliminate plants or reduce the number of high oxalate plants that you're eating, those oxalates that are stored up within your body are going to try to get out of your body. And they come out through these rashes, and it's called oxalate dumping. So we've called it the keto rash, and we called it the carnivore rash, and all these what do they call it? Keto crotch, and all of this stuff. It is oxalates trying to leave your body because they never should have been there in the first place. And so I really want to kind of think differently about the term. Because yes, a lot of times we get this rash when we go on a ketogenic diet because we're eliminating oxalates, and we're allowing our body to release all the things that are stored up in our cells, including oxalates, and so it's called oxalate dumping. Anybody else have a chime in on that one?
Just really quick. So go ahead, Terry.
I'm sorry, DeNitra.
Can
you hear me?
Yes.
I actually have an oxalate scar right here. It was a rash at first, and this was when I first changed my way of eating. It was itchy, and then it kind of blistered up. So I still have the remains of that, but that is an oxalate scar, and eventually it will go away. But it's interesting how your body will dump what it doesn't want inside of it. And that's all I was going to say. Go ahead, DeNitra.
If you allow it to.
That's right. So that's what I was just going to say, that almost the same thing, Terry. So remember, I talked about your body being a body of portals, right? It is always trying to rid itself of stuff that it doesn't want. And when it doesn't want something, you don't get a chance. So we talked about pooping. It's not always going to end up in the toilet because it is stored on your body, and it's so much of it. This is why you get what looks like a rash. It's why you get infections. It's why your skin changes color. All of that is your body. So what they tell you with an autoimmune, which is what I was diagnosed with, lupus, what they tell you is that it's your body fighting against itself. No, it is your body fighting for you. Your body is trying to get that crap out of you. So a lot of times when people change the way they eat and they see this transitional time, they think, oh no, I'm finna stop this because I ain't never had this before. This never happened to me before. You should be glad that it's working because your body is now getting what it needs and it's feeling safe to let go of what it doesn't want and never wanted, as Robyn said. So that is oxalate dumping. I also included in the chat, Sally Norton has a book called Super Toxic Foods.
Toxic Superfoods.
Toxic Superfoods. Thank you. Thank you. I knew the super went somewhere else. Toxic Superfoods. Y'all, this book, thank you for that, Robyn. This is why we have to help each other. This book will teach you all about the stuff that you think is healthy. I had a whole conversation at the dinner table yesterday about how great kale is, and I was just cringing because kale is not great. It's one of the worst things you can put in your body. Spinach is one of the worst things that you can put in your body. These things have tentacles, pinnacles, phytates, all kinds of stuff in them because they don't want to be eaten, first of all. They're trying to preserve their life. And this is why they're growing out of you, right? Because they're continuing to grow. They're continuing to ferment. And so they are fighting their way out to life is what they're trying to do. So I just wanted to add that as a statement.
All right. Any other comments on that? Trying to get you guys a link to the book.
Thank you. So one of the things, Robyn, Jackie Hopkins, thank you for your question and thank you for tuning in. You asked about naming some of the fats we use, and so I did put some of those in the chat. So any animal-based fat. So like we've been taught to like take the skin off of chicken. We've been taught not to eat the skin, eat the skinless and breastless. You should be eating all the skin and more skin. We've been taught don't eat pork skins. You can have all the pork skins you want if they're plain. Can everybody say out loud in the chat, plain?
Plain cooked in tallow, cooked in pork
Yeah.
fat. Why would they cook pork skins in vegetable oil?
Vegetable
That
oil,
makes
right?
no sense.
So you can't eat any. I have to say this to my clients over and over again. They hear me say pork skins and they think, great, they just go get all the pork skins. The ones that are flavored have some compromising chemicals, basically ingredients in them. So, but plain pork skins, if you can look on the back and it only says pork skins on the back, you can have those all you want. That's a good fat for you. Bacon, remember on here we do purse bacon. We almost cook bacon every day. And honey, if you haven't tried beef fat, I've tried it with a friend today. It was her first. She was like, this tastes kind of good, right?
Kind of good.
She hasn't eaten meat in 10 years. And
Oh,
she had beef
man.
fat in a patty today. And she was like, okay, right? Because it's so good. Forgive me for smacking y'all. So I just want to say those are the fats that you can have. If it's the fat off of an animal, you can eat it. Some animals are very lean. Like you're not going to get fat from turkey. You're not going to get fat from chicken. This is why we harper on eating beef fat, because you want the greasiest part. If you get a brisket, don't ask for lean. Ain't that right, Terry? Ain't that right, Robyn?
Yep.
Yeah. Don't get no lean stuff. You won't. If they can't bring you marbled, is the fancy name for that. Bring you some marbled brisket.
Yes.
All right, we got another question I see
the
coming
fatty
up.
end. Let's see here. What does a meal look like? So I just want to say that I have so many what I eat a day in a days on my channel.
Yes.
If you want to see what to eat, that is one of the objectives of what I do on my channel, is to show you what to eat. Because when I started carnivore, there were just, there's a lot of channels now, a whole bunch of them. But when I started, there weren't that many. And I was like, people want to know what to eat. So what do I order when I go out? What do I order at McDonald's? What am I eating? My meal looks like meat with a side of meat and maybe a side of fat. That's basically. And I grew up with I was in a house that had 3 things on the plate. There was a meat, a starch, and a vegetable. And we always had 3 things. So I kind of don't feel fulfilled unless I have 3 things on my plate. So I might have a steak and some shrimp and some bacon or something like that. So I am eating meat, but I'm also adding that beef fat that DeNitra just mentioned. I'll sometimes put a side of that because the fat I have found has been a true game changer. Anybody else?
Yes. I was going to say my favorite meal is a ribeye with some pork belly. I use my smoker a lot because I love smoked meats. That's just my jam. But that pork belly has a lot of fat to it. And of course, the ribeye has a lot of fat to it. So when I eat those 2 things together, I'm satiated. Every once in a while, I'll throw chicken, like a fatty thigh or a couple of chicken wings, just to diversify what I'm eating. And every once in a while, I might eat tuna or something like that. But for a daily meal, it's usually ribeye, pork belly, and eggs.
Yep. And for me, I have discovered chuck eye steak now. And so I primarily am going to eat chuck eye steak, as well as like a ground chuck patty. I actually go to a local butcher. I used to only buy like ground beef from Sam's, but when I started eating this ground chuck from this butcher, I will never buy Sam's beef again. It's so good. And so for me, I also don't think of these things as meals. So I kind of want to take that misnomer off the table. What we call, every time we start our first eating of the day or our first fueling of the day, we call it break fast. So we get on and say to each other, hey, this is what I'm having for break fast, because you've stopped eating before dark the day before, and you're waiting until you feel hunger the day of, and then you break that fast. And so it may look, for me, I'm going to have chuck eye, I'm going to have eggs. Sometimes I'm going to have scallops. I like scallops. If I'm just in the mood for some chicken wings, but chicken wings are not going to be a major meal for me. Like, I'm going to have some beef. And the way we think about that is, like premium gas, right? So you go to the gas station and you have these two, you have a regular gas and a premium gas. Beef for us is premium. That is where you're going to get your most bang for your buck, your most nutrients. And I'm also learning, I'm glad you're saying that, T. Lewis. What I am learning is how to eat egg yolks. I'm starting to switch from eating egg whites. So I know for a lifetime we've been taught to eat the whites. The white was the best part, and the yolks were the worst part. So now, coming from us, if you had to pick the best part of the egg right now, it is the yolk.
Yes.
And so you should be scrambling your yolks and eating that. Oh gosh, Stacey is gonna keep us on here all night. I love it, Stacey. Y'all, I'm so glad we're being patient. I don't know if anybody else wants to start this question off.
I will say that it may raise your cholesterol. However, there is a cholesterol heart health fallacy that we have been taught that high cholesterol is going to give you a heart attack. It's so much untruth and misinformation out here around food and eating and what's best for the body. But our bodies make cholesterol. Every single cell in your body requires cholesterol. And I had a conversation with Dr. Ovadia, who is a well-known heart surgeon, has done thousands of heart surgeries. And he told me out of his own mouth that maybe half of the people that he's operated on have high cholesterol. All of them, 100%, have metabolic syndrome. So it may raise your cholesterol, but there's there's more nuance to the cholesterol story than what you have been told. And you need to understand the details about your cholesterol in order to really understand it. So go ahead, DeNitra.
So one, I want to say, Stacey, if you joined us a little late, the video that G dropped today in her absence was about cholesterol. So when you get a chance to go back to this same link, you can go back and watch G's video where she talks about cholesterol. So what we have, and I just put this in the chat, we always hear that LDL cholesterol is bad. That's bad cholesterol. There's no such thing in your body that has been God made that's bad. Your body makes cholesterol. And what it does is it shows up to protect you. I run very high cholesterol. It is very high, to the point that even my doctor who shows up here is like, I don't know, DeNitra, I know you're doing all the right stuff, but this is still looking high. So tomorrow, when is the 7th, y'all?
It's not tomorrow. It's next week.
Okay. Yeah. Next Monday, I am going to see a cardiologist just because, but I know that my body is healing, right? So what I'm more worried about than the LDL cholesterol are the triglycerides. And what the triglycerides are teaching me is that my body is not metabolizing the visceral fat that I have built up over a long period of time from eating all of the cakes and cookies and pies and vegetables and potatoes and sweet potatoes. So that's an area that I'm working on. But LDL cholesterol is not bad for you. Right. So people who have dementia and who are dying of dementia, what they're finding is that those people have been placed on a statin drug. And because they've been placed on a statin drug, it's lowering their cholesterol and it's causing all kinds of things. Now, I'm not saying this. There's a doctor who is out who says, and I want to make sure I quote him. I have some people that are guiding me through this process so that I make sure that I say the right things. There is a doctor who talks about how this whole cholesterol thing is a scam. And I want to put his name in the chat and you can go and Google him for a full video. His name is Dr. Leonard Coldwells. I don't know if you guys have heard of him. but he has a whole video talking about how it's a whole scam, right? And I know it's hard to hear these things from us here on a show. Like, who the heck are y'all?
Uh-oh. Well, I'm going to go on to the next question while DeNitra is taking care of what just happened.
Yes, it's this
Like it's-
madness because we're telling so much
Right.
truth on here tonight. Sorry. But
All right.
I know it's hard for us to hear on here from what appears to be lay people with experiences. Sometimes it's hard to hear these things because you should be hearing them from your doctor. I personally have discovered prediabetes and insulin resistance in multiple of my clients that their doctors have missed. And this is why we teach you about advocating for yourself.
All right. Last question, you guys. Can carnivore be successful for someone who only eats meat well done?
Yes.
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 Yep.
Any meat, nose to tail, you can eat all the meat you want to eat, nose to tail. If it had a mama, you can eat it. That's what we say out here. I did see another one.
But you will notice that your preference will change over time. So you can start out wherever you want as long as.
Yep. This person, Keto Simple, I don't know the person's real name. Dustin, the life expectancy of a person on statins is about 5 extra days. So the point that he's making there is that you got on a statin and somebody died today that wasn't on a statin, and somebody lived 5 extra days. So, but what damage did they do while on that route of being on a statin? It's $1 trillion business. So this is a hashtag no statin. So y'all, longer show tonight, but we obviously needed to, be able to dial deep and help you guys work through some things. And that's what we're here for. So thank you for those that are stuck around. Robyn, you gonna close us out?
I am. I want to find it. Here it is. You guys, we are having an Impact with Carnivorous Grandma and Friends Meet Up and Eat Up August 30th, 2025. It's in Kalamazoo, Michigan from 12 to 4. And we are having an after party from 4:30 to 7:30. The registration fee is $25. It is very reasonable. The after party is $10. So come out. We're going to have Dr. Kiltz there. Dr. Hampton's going to be there. Our ace, DeNitra Davis, is going to be in the house. Terri Carver is going to be there, and she's going to be teaching us her dance moves. We are so excited about that. And of course, Frederick and G, from Hanging with the Browns, are going to be there. So we would love to see you. Let me just take this comment down so that you guys can get that QR code. You can pick this. You can get this you can get this by going to my website, carnivorousgrandma.com, or you can scan the QR code. We would love to see you in Kalamazoo. I really, really hope that you will be able to make it. Come on, Dustin. Come on. We want to see you over here.
Dustin, we can bust a move, Dustin. You can do
it. Yes. So, is that the last word?
Yes. So for me, just join me on Saturdays for Nutritional Knit, 3:30 Central Time on Saturdays. That's where my show is. I am your ace on that show. And so, yes, if you want to check me out on a Saturday at 3:30, and you can also catch the live link there. So, Terri, what you got?
Okay, I was looking. Darth Carnivore says he's coming to Michigan. Woo-woo.
Yeah.
But anyway, I am restructuring my show a little bit, so I probably will go live sometime this week, and kind of discuss what my plans are and which way I'm going to go with my channel.
Nice.
Right.
All right, you guys, we thank you so much for being here tonight. We are just saying no. We've been saying no all month, and today we are saying no to starting over. We are never starting over ever again. Have a good night, you guys. We'll see y'all next time.
Good night.